Okay, hey everybody. Skipper Davies here, project manager in tech, and upskilling into cybersecurity and cloud stuff. I already have some experience in that area, especially with Azure. But today we're going through the Try Hack Me track, which includes the pre-security route. Some of this I already know stuff about. Like I said, my other videos, other parts of it is a little bit Swiss cheese because I'm not in this every day as a project manager. So I'm still going to go through this. Some of it's very basic, so you'll have to bear with me. If you're more advanced, then this video might not be for you. Today's video is going to be about the OSI model. So this one is encapsulated. Some people have mnemonic devices to remember this. I think the one, let's see if I can remember it. The one that I go with is people don't need those stupid packets anyways. And that stands for physical data network transportation or transport session presentation application. Let's see if I got it right. Let's see here. Physical data network transport session presentation application. Yeah, I think so. So this is taught in all the basic sort of like networking, introduction to networking courses and things like that. But there are some changes I also want to talk about in here as well. So this is the original OSI model. It's 7 layers. If someone says you have a layer 3 problem or a layer 1 problem, that means it's physical or network. If they say you have a layer 1 problem, that's probably because something is unplugged, or whatever. So it could be things like that. And then layer 6 is like application layer, layer 7 is application layer. But layer 6 includes, like layer 6 and 7 are used a lot in web development. And then these first 4 layers are frequently in the networking, more the networking category, that sort of thing. But there are some changes here. So everything is pretty much interacting with the cloud or in the cloud to some extent. You got your on-prem models, which is just purely on-prem. Then you have hybrid, which is more frequently something that I see, which is where some application components might be in the cloud, in Azure or AWS or Google Cloud Platform. And then some information might be held on-prem for like data security and sensitive reasons. And then there's full cloud where the application components and the data are both stored in the cloud separately in separate parts of the cloud somewhere. Usually encrypted, like almost always anyways, encrypted at rest and in transit, which is very important. And cloud security is something we're going to get into in other videos in a more advanced way in Try Hack Me and other things. Also looking at PortSwigger, which is a great little training thing. But there's a few things here for this. So this model really is relevant for non-cloud networks, especially. This is how it works. These are the different layers that are there. However, there are some good articles out there talking about the nuances for understanding this in a cloud era, because some of these layers have abstractions now in front of them, or some of it's been abstracted away a little bit, I guess you could say, maybe by things in the cloud. So in Azure specifically, I'll include links to all these in the description of this video, but this guy writes about some aspects of that. So he's talking about the OSI model having 7 layers, that sort of thing. And these right here, he talks about. But in Azure, like the Azure Load Balancer, which is an important part of the Azure service offering, this sort of abstracts away this layer 4 area. Azure Application Gateway, another important aspect that is abstracting away sort of layer 7. Azure Traffic Manager includes DNS routing, and then of course this includes the API management, which is layer 7, Azure Front Door, which is layer 7, etc. So there are some abstractions there. It's still important to know this, I think, at a basic level and understand what's being abstracted away. You can't really understand what's being abstracted away in different cloud providers unless you understand this model first and how it worked originally. So I think there is still some value in learning it. I was talking to a senior security engineer. He was almost like at the architect level, and he was saying that the OSI model has basically been obsolete for 20 years And you will see people arguing something like that, like this article here from 2019 saying, hey, it's dead, and it's arguing about why that's the case. This is arguing it more from a business perspective versus a technological perspective, I think, but it does have some good things to read through there, and I'll include this in the description, like I said. But there's also some counter arguments that are even more recent than that. So this is from 2024, saying that it still is important to know this stuff even in a cloud-first world, which is the world we're living in now. So there are some abstractions and things like that, but it's still saying, hey, this is still all needed. Load balancers, which is what we just talked about earlier, and the transport layer, that's still there, so you still got to understand that. And this person is making the case that, I think this is the article anyways, that if you're trying to troubleshoot something, you can spend a lot longer trying to troubleshoot it if you don't have a basic understanding of these things versus if you do have an understanding. This is actually the article that talks about that. So moved the complexity behind APIs and gave it new names, but it hasn't really gone away. The concepts are still sort of underlying those abstractions. And engineers who dismiss OSI fundamentals as legacy knowledge are now spending hours troubleshooting issues that network engineers would diagnose in minutes. At least this is what it's claiming. And it's an article on the OSI model in the cloud era. This is from 2 months ago, almost 2 months ago. So, of course, it's talking about Kubernetes. So Kubernetes, Terraform, things like that are all very important in Azure and in the cloud, just in general. So those are also things I'm going to be learning about as well and going over when the time comes. So these are all things that are good to know. That's a little bit of the nuance behind the OSI model. Just wanted to do a quick video on that. Sorry for the pause in videos, but I'm in Portugal and it is extremely hot here. We have a heat wave going on, and I don't have AC because they don't really do air conditioning in Portugal. I'm not sure why. I think they're like, oh, there's still going to be mild climate, and it's like, well, not really, because of climate change. It's going to be really hot from now on until the end of time. So, people are dying from the heat. And I've been focused on not getting a heat stroke, so I haven't been in the mood to learn much or to do much because of how hot it is. I've just been trying to, be alive. I will be putting out more videos. I ordered an air conditioning unit, portable one, that's coming within the next day or two. So I should be back to normal and learning and putting out more videos after that. But yeah, I just wanted to hit this real quick, very basic. Just basically what the OSI model is, kind of a little bit about how it works without going into too much detail, especially because I'm not a network engineer. And then talking a little bit about the fact that you kind of have to keep in mind when you're learning this stuff that, you can learn the basics, but you have to kind of translate that into a modern context, which includes a cloud-based sort of way of understanding these things. And you need to understand that you are going to be operating in the cloud these days, pretty much exclusively. Or it's going to have to interface with the cloud in some sort of a hybrid arrangement at least. So just keep that in mind when you're going over this aspect of networking knowledge. And until next time, I will see you then, and hope you have a good day.